and welcome to Career View Mirror. I'm your host, Joyel Crawford, and today we have a fantastic guest, Angela Harris, who is an IT professional philanthropist, and I can't wait to hear more about what you do. Angela, it's so good to see you again.
Thank you so much for having me. I'm honored to be here.
Thank you. So what is an IT professional professional philanthropist do?
Well, my day-to-day job, I'm actually a portfolio analyst, and I'm aligned to the different business areas in my company, and we work with them to establish their technology projects. The same way you have a portfolio of investments in home, we have a portfolio of technology projects. So we work with them to define the work efforts and make sure that they all align with our strategic objectives for the company.
Now, how long does it take for a project to go through? I mean, does it take like months or days or?
Typically, we have a whole annual planning process that kicks off in the summertime, typically in the July timeframe. That's when we do our outreach to the business areas to say like, hey, you know, what are you looking to do next year? And that process typically runs from like July to September, and then we go through a whole ranking and approval process. And we typically have the defined portfolio by December of every year, and we start kicking off projects from that time.
Wow. So, I mean, like, this sounds very detailed. I mean, did you have to go to school for this?
Well, I did go to school. I'm a nerd at heart. I've always been passionate about technology, and I went to Drexel University for my undergraduate career. I have a bachelor's in information systems. I have a master's in information technology leadership from LaSalle University. And I also have my project management professional certification.
So you have your PMP.
I do.
That is a hard certification to get.
Yes.
Congratulations.
It's a 4-hour test, 200 questions, and thankfully I passed on the very first time.
You're a very lucky person, because I've known some people who've taken that, 3-4 times and have not been as successful.
Yes.
So that is a really, really great certification to have.
Thank you.
Well, why do you do what you do?
Well, for my current company, basically, we're a healthcare company, and our mission is to improve the health and well-being of the customers that we serve. So at the end of the day, IT, we're behind the scenes making sure that our members can get the appropriate healthcare coverage that they need. So it's a good feeling knowing at the end of the day, if you go to the doctor, I've played some role in that.
That's really great. And do you happen to are you able to understand where you fit into the results of the organization? Did you have to learn that, or is it just kind of come naturally?
I think by being involved in the projects and getting an in-depth understanding of what's going on, you learn that over time.
Okay.
Yeah.
Because business acumen is something important that people get to know, as they're going through their role.
Yeah, and it's something that's not necessarily taught in schools. Every industry is different. So once you get in within your particular company, that's when the business acumen really starts to come into play.
Right. So it's not only learning at school, but you're able to learn on the job as well.
Yeah, you're always learning.
So do you have any tips for people as they're learning on the job with what they should do?
Yeah, I would say definitely find a mentor within the organization. My company have a formal mentorship program, so that's been very helpful. We also have, lunch and learns. We have a whole university that has all types of courses that you can attend. Oh, wow. And, just reading industry publications as well.
So keeping yourself abreast of what's going on is really helpful that's made you successful.
Yes.
Now, how long have you been in your role?
I've been in this current role for 4 years now.
4 years. And while you were coming up, did you have it plotted out? Because a lot of times people know exactly what they want to do and go straight to that position. Did you plot it out or have somebody help you?
I thought I did.
Okay.
So initially, when I graduated from college, I thought I would go in the network engineering realm, and that didn't take off. So I've kind of jumped around in different areas. I've done some networking. I've done quality assurance testing. I've done production support, and I was always curious about project management. So I kind of landed in project management and it's taken off from there.
So it just kept coming that way.
Yeah.
So when you have that project management thing that keeps coming up that way, did people assign you projects, or how did that all come about with your passion in project management?
I feel like I kind of maybe volunteered. I think I saw things that were projects and kind of just volunteered, and again, just started doing the self-study on my own.
And once you volunteered, obviously you were successful, and so did you have to report back to anybody or continue to tell people? Because a lot of times people are growing their career and they want to do things like project management, and you do it and then maybe get assigned to something completely different. How did you keep people on track with what you wanted to do?
I always kept myself on track. I'm a huge advocate of like, making goals for myself. So once I saw that I wanted to go in the project management realm, that's when I started studying for the PMP certification. And it's always made it a goal of mine.
That's great. So you kept driving your career.
Yes.
So a lot of times when I'm talking to clients and leaders, that I tell them that their leader is like the GPS, and you put in the address and you calculate the route. So you were in the driver's seat.
Yes, always.
That's fantastic. So as you were going through this, through your 4 years, and you're doing the project management, is there any type of project that you were most proud of?
Well, there was one project. I used to work for Cigna, and I was responsible for coordinating their disaster recovery testing. And the first couple of times we did it, it didn't go so well. We ran into some challenges recovering a few of the applications, but the very last time I ran the test, we had a 100% success rate for the test. And as a result of some of the work that I did on the test, the disaster recovery was an overall goal for every employee in the organization. I was able to bring awareness to the importance of having disaster recovery.
Oh, that's fantastic. So it had like such a huge impact to the organization. And did you have that intent when you?
No, because actually when the test didn't go well, I had to report back to senior leadership that, we had some issues that we had to work on. So that was a good opportunity to bring awareness into how we could improve upon those issues.
Wow. So learning from your mistakes has helped make you a stronger project manager.
Absolutely. Lessons learned.
Yes, absolutely. So I would love to learn more about the philanthropy part of what you do, because you're not all work. You do have play too.
Yes.
I would love to know a little bit more about some of the philanthropy work. I know that you're on a lot of boards, right? So tell me a little bit more about what you do on this board. How do you get on a board?
Yeah, so again, being goal-oriented, I had a personal goal a few years ago to join a nonprofit board, and the way I thought I would go about doing that was to participate in United Way's Young Leadership Program, where they actually train you to be a board member.
Oh, wow.
So I thought I was taking the right path by doing that, but in the midst of doing that, I was having a conversation with a friend of mine, and I mentioned, like, I'm looking to join a board, I'm doing this program. She's like, oh, my nonprofit board, we're looking for board members. And so she did a referral, I went for an interview, and I was elected to my first nonprofit board a few years ago, which was for the New Century Trust, which was a women's organization. And I'm definitely passionate about causes that support girls and women, so definitely aligned with my mission and my values.
So I mean, as you're picking a board, it's almost like looking for another job, right?
Yes.
And as you're learning these types of things on the board, like what are the things that they require you to do?
It depends on the board.
Okay.
Obviously, they want you to be an active board member and participate on different committees within the board, be an advocate for the organization.
Okay. And I mean, do you have to raise money?
It
the board that I was on, that was like
sometimes
all
you do have to
fundraising.
raise money.
Okay.
We had an endowment with the board that I was on, so there wasn't a lot of fundraising involved, but definitely I was on the programs committee, so definitely working on the programming and awareness for that board, and working on forming partnerships with other organizations.
So it sounds like there was a tie to the passion of your program and project management in your job, in your day-to-day, in your 9 to 5, and then the board as well. You got like a double dip.
Yeah, absolutely, transferable skills.
So that's important to know that you can use those skills, and not only use those, but a tip is that you can put that on your resume.
Yes.
So it doesn't necessarily mean that you get paid to do the things that you're doing, but you can still get that skill set and add to your experience. So that's great. That makes you more marketable. What's one of your favorite things about being on a board?
I like giving back, just knowing that, I'm able to share what I've learned with other people and other organizations and help people at the end of the day.
Oh, that's great. And how many boards are you on now?
Oh, gosh. I think right now 3. I'm on the Drexel University Board of Governors. I'm also on the steering committee for Women United, which is the women's initiative for the local United Way. And I'm also on the Drexel University Black Alumni Council.
Wow. How do you find time to be on all of this stuff?
It's a passion of mine, so I make the time. Like I said, I really enjoy it, so it doesn't really feel like work when you're having so much fun.
Oh, that's fantastic. That's fantastic. So going back to the work piece, have you experienced any challenges being in project management, like being a female, being a minority female, being a Generation Xer? This is the first time we've had 5 generations in the workforce. and having all of this experience, have you had any challenges?
Oh, absolutely. As a woman of color in the tech industry, the road has not been easy. There have been a lot of, twists and turns, potholes. So it has not been easy. When I first graduated from college, unfortunately, I didn't have any mentors in my career. I was always looking for a mentor, but never really found a mentor very early on in my career. And I had to navigate some very challenging and sometimes unfair work situations on my own.
Oh, well, so you're like a corporate orphan.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
you had to kind of figure it out, swim and figure it out on your own. I mean, how did you manage through all of that?
Honestly, I don't know. Thankfully, I'm still standing, but like I said, I have a lot of battle scars as a result of that.
Oh, well, we're going to talk a little bit more about those battle scars in a minute. We're going to take a break and learn more about you, Angela.
All right, thanks.
Thanks.
Shelter dogs aren't broken. They've simply experienced more life. If they were human, we would call them wise. They would be the ones with tales to tell and stories to write, the ones dealt a bad hand who responded with courage. Do not pity a shelter dog. Adopt one.
Say we've got grit, and we'll take it as a compliment. Because it's our uncommon drive, our spark within, that brings us together and sets us apart. We are temple made. And when others take shortcuts, when others take breaks, when others take the easy way, we take charge.
I work 13 hours a day, 6 days a week. So when I'm off the clock, I gotta get stuff done. So when I need a snack, I need something healthy, tasty, and easy to eat. Like wonderful pistachios without the shells. They're protein-powered, delicious, and great on the go. And that's perfect for me. Thanks, Liz. A woman without a lot of time.
Whether you're a gourmet cook or just want to eat like one, visit Rostelli Market Fresh, your home for the freshest, locally sourced ingredients to please everyone who loves great food. Our organic meats, quality seafood, and free-range poultry are cut fresh to order. Chefs create culinary-inspired prep foods made fresh every day, which pair nicely with our vast selection of fine wines and spirits. Choose from handmade pastas, artisan cheeses, organic produce, and grocery items, all from the finest purveyors. Rostelli Market Fresh, from our family to yours.
RV in.
So thank you and welcome back. I have Angela Harris here, and we are just having a great time catching up and learning more about your career. We were talking about the challenges before break, and before we dive into a little bit more of the personal stuff that I wanted to talk to you about outside of the job, do you have any tips for anybody who wants to go into this career path that you have?
Well, technology is always changing, so you just have to be open and willing to adapt to the change and just be willing to keep your skills current.
Oh, okay. And how would you do that? I mean, do you just read magazines? How?
Well, I read industry-related articles. Being a member of the Project Management Institute, I have to maintain my certification. So
That's
I'm
right.
always doing, webinars or going to trainings to maintain my certification.
Okay, so
And going to conferences and workshops and things of that nature.
you've got to do a lot of the heavy lifting again still. It's not over
No,
after
it's
that
not
4-hour
over, 'cause
test.
I don't want to take it again.
Okay. So you've got the continuing education credits, you self-educate, reading articles and perhaps even joining professional organizations to stay apprised of things. So speaking of professional organizations, we talked about your board membership and things that you do outside of work. I know that you are a huge STEM champion. Yes. STEM champion, and you're a Drexel Dragon. So I really want to learn more about how you really threw yourself into this championing of STEM and what goes behind that. What's behind all of that?
Well, one of my favorite quotes is by Gandhi, which says, "Be the change you wish to see in the world." And I think I shared with you that, early on in my career, I didn't have any mentors. And just knowing the landscape of IT right now, I know we need more women, in particular women of color. And I feel like a lot of the companies are just doing lip service behind it. They're not, walking the walk. And when I was a student, I didn't get any scholarships for being a female studying technology. And honestly, my father died when I was in college. My father passed away my senior year in college.
So sorry.
And I can remember calling the financial aid office and saying like, hey, my mom's also deceased, my father's now deceased. Is there anything you could do to help me? And I was told I didn't qualify for any additional financial aid outside of loans. And I wasn't working at the time either. So the thought of taking on a loan, not knowing what the future would hold, was scary for me.
At 21? Yes.
At 21, yes. So
absolutely.
Thankfully, my father was a saver. He was no millionaire, but thankfully he had money set aside for my education. I was fortunate to be able to finish college, and I know that everyone isn't as fortunate.
Right.
And that made me make a vow to myself, if I was ever in a position to help another student, you know, that's what I wanted to do. And in 2014, I remember writing down a personal goal to sponsor a child's tuition. And when I wrote it down, I didn't know how much it would be or when I would be able to do it, but that was something that I wrote down as a goal.
Wow.
And fast forward to 2017, I ended up starting my own scholarship at Drexel University to support African American female students studying technology.
That is amazing. We have an image here of one of your scholarship recipients.
Yes, that is my very first scholarship recipient. Her name is Blessing Otagame, and she is a phenomenal woman. She's a rock star, she's a rising star, and I'm just so proud of her to be able to see her grow.
Very similar to you, rock star and rising star.
So many amazing things at a young age.
And Blessing is a fitting name,
yes.
right? Oh, that's fantastic. And congratulations to her and to you for doing that. I mean, it just popped into your head that you wanted to give back. You wanted to help somebody's scholarship.
Yes, I'm actually personally funding the scholarship.
That is amazing. So, I mean, you know, if you don't mind me getting a little too personal, how do you do that? Do you have a second, like a side hustle to raise the money?
I'm saving and budget for it.
You're just budgeting for it, just like you would for like a car or anything else. This is what your commitment is.
Yeah, and actually last year I was fortunate that the university allowed me to do a additional fundraising campaign. So I was actually able to raise an additional $5,000 on what I contribute. So this year I was able to give 2 awards this year to 2 students. And actually Blessing was able to get a second award this year, and I have a new recipient this year.
That's fantastic. I mean, Drexel must really love you. But I mean, you must really love Drexel too, to give back to the school that gave you.
Like I said, it's very important. It's definitely something that's needed. When I served on my college alumni board and I was on the scholarship committee, I really didn't see a lot of scholarships that were for African American females studying technology. And like I said, knowing the landscape, I know that women of color need access to a quality education.
Right.
And I wanted to be able to help them get there.
That's amazing. That's amazing. So as you've created this, I mean, what went behind creating this scholarship? Did you just roll up into Drexel and just say, I want to do a scholarship and slap a check on the desk?
Well, not exactly. Actually, I was having a meeting with someone from the university. They were talking about my involvement with the alumni board within the college, and that person actually happened to work for Institutional Advancement. So I was always curious about, you know, how you start a scholarship, because typically when you hear scholarships and donations to school, you think millionaires. And I'm like, I'm no millionaire, but you know, how does one start a scholarship?
Absolutely.
And, you know, the person shared with me there was something called a current use scholarship, which was within my, I guess, my budget and feasible for me. So it was something that I chose to pursue.
Wow, so they have something for folks that aren't like putting their name on the side of a building.
Right.
Okay.
Right, which I never knew. It's like you don't ask, you never know.
You don't ask, you never know.
Yeah.
You're like, where can I give my money? I want to give my money. So I mean, as an alum, you know, as alumni, that's, you know, I'm an active alumni as well. It's helpful to know those types of things too. And that you can give back in any way that you need to.
Yes.
That's terrific. That's terrific. Oh, this is terrific. I'm just in awe of you, because I remember meeting you like 3 years ago at an event.
I remember that.
It's called Women Making History event. And you are making history.
Oh,
I mean, you're just a fixture in the Philadelphia area and making this such a great opportunity for other people. And not even just somebody who's in Philly now, it can impact anybody who goes to school at Drexel.
Yes.
So that's fantastic. So I know that you do a lot of public speaking and you're motivating and inspiring other people. Do you schedule these things? Do you just go out and look for places to speak? How do you get out there and get your message out?
I guess because I go to so many events and I share with people what I'm interested in, what I'm doing. They've honestly been coming to me with the opportunities.
Absolutely.
Which is truly a blessing.
That is a blessing.
It's truly an honor to think that, you know, someone wants to hear my story because, like I said, I'm just an average Jane in my opinion.
Well, no, you're not. No, you're not. That's why you're here. Now, you, in addition to being a STEM champion, you launched a Facebook group, and it's Women in Technicolor.
Yes.
I'm a member of it. I was invited. I'm an honored guest in that group. How did you start that?
Again, this from just knowing some of the challenges that I faced in my career, and when I go to certain events or, panel discussions, I wasn't hearing my story. And I realized, I faced some challenges. I'm like, I can't be the only one out there. And I feel like no one really openly talks about those challenges. So I wanted to create a safe space where women of color could come together and just talk about the realities, the fact that we have to work twice as hard. We have to prove ourselves over and over again, the challenges that we have trying to advance to the next level. Just having an open and safe space where we can come together and support one another and talk about those issues.
Oh, that's fantastic. And what do you share on it? I know what you share, but do you want to tell the guests what do the viewers see when they go to your Facebook group page?
Yeah, sure. Actually, so in addition to the Facebook page, I actually had a face-to-face meeting when I first initially launched the group where we came together and we talked about my life as a woman of color in tech. And like I said, we went around the room and just shared stories about, different challenges that we've encountered, but on a day-to-day basis within the group, I like to share articles related to diversity in tech. I like to share information about, area initiatives going on. If there's a workshop or a program that maybe of interest to the ladies, I share that with them. And it's just a safe space we can all come together and share information.
Absolutely. And it helps other people not feel like an orphan, a corporate orphan.
Yeah, to know you're not
so
alone.
To speak.
Yeah.
Yes. And
that you have a network of people that you can lean on and cry with. And if you need access to people, they're there to help you.
And they keep it real because it's Technicolor, right?
Yes.
Tech in color. So I really think that play on words is really, really good.
Actually, I just had brunch with some of the ladies yesterday. We met up for a Sunday brunch yesterday.
That's fantastic.
Yeah. Just being able to let your hair down.
Exactly. It just gives you a chance to get away from the workday and just vent maybe.
Yes, it's self-care.
And absolutely.
Self-care.
And to that point, how important is self-care to you as you're in a high tech, high impact, rush kind of industry? Healthcare is not slow. There are things that are always changing. How do you take care of yourself?
Well, again, being a project manager, I tend to plan in my self-care. So, I block out times with friends, whether it's breakfast, lunch, or dinner, having the brunches and, scheduling phone calls with friends and other things that I like to do. I'm an adventurous person, so I'm always looking for new and exciting things to do around the city.
Like what?
Well, I rappelled down a building a couple of years ago.
Well, that sounds crazy. Like Spider-Man?
Yes, it was a cherry though.
Didn't you pull a plane?
I pulled an airplane,
You pulled an airplane too, didn't you?
I've done flying trapeze lessons.
I think
so I'm
I
always
remember
looking for new and exciting things to do.
I think I remember seeing something about donuts too.
I went on a donut tour. I went on a donut tour.
Oh my gosh.
Around Philadelphia.
And I don't know how you ate all those donuts and stay so thin. It's amazing. That's a whole other show.
Also work out in the morning. So a part of my self-care, I'm a huge fan of working out. So I get up at 5 a.m. and work out in the morning 5 days a week.
Wow. Wow. I mean, talk about making an investment in yourself and making sure that you're healthy mind, body, and soul. What would you tell your younger self about what you know now? What are some tips that you would tell yourself?
There's actually a scripture that comes to mind, Ephesians 3:20. God is able to do exceedingly and abundantly above all that you can think or ask. And I've seen that throughout my life within the past year. I would also say, trust the process. It's not going to be easy, but things will definitely come together when they're meant to come together. And definitely, work on having a mentor and maintaining those strong networking relationships.
That is so, so important. And what is next for you?
What's next is I'm actually starting a new opportunity. I was in this amazing leadership development program for the past year called the Emerge Academy, sponsored by an organization called the Information Technology Senior Management Forum. And I have actually landed a new opportunity with Microsoft. I'll be relocating to the Seattle, Washington area and joining Microsoft.
And your title? What's your title?
I'll be an operations program manager.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
They are blessed to have you.
I'm really excited.
And I'm blessed to have you here too. And thank you so much for your time and sharing the change that you want to see in this world.
Thank you for this opportunity.
Thank you. And thanks for joining us. And see you next time on Career View Mirror, Mondays at 1:30 p.m. Thanks, Angela.